love diving into the latest wellness secrets on the podcast, then you're going to want to join my exclusive weekly newsletter. Get insider wellness tips you won't hear anywhere else. Be the first to know about my upcoming fasting workshops because let's be real, fasting is the secret weapon for surviving perimenopause. Access my weekly essentials, tools, and biohacks to help you thrive in midlife. I promise to make it worth your while, straight to the point, no fluff, just powerful tips to help you feel your best every single week. Don't miss out. Sign up now at thewelldrop.com. Let's take your wellness to the next level together. Welcome back to The Well Drop, your trusted space to cut through the wellness noise and get real, practical tools to own your health in midlife with clarity and confidence. I'm your host, Amber Berger, and today we're talking about something every woman in midlife feels: skin changes. Because let's be honest, what worked in our 30s isn't cutting it anymore. And that's exactly why I'm so excited to bring you today's conversation with Dr. Alessandra Zonari, the co-founder and chief scientific officer of OneSkin, a brand that's completely transforming how we think about aging skin. Alessandra holds a PhD in skin regeneration and stem cell biology, and she's the scientific mind behind OneSkin's breakthrough peptide, OS1, the first peptide proven to reverse skin aging at the molecular level. OneSkin officially launched in 2020, and it's been disrupting the skincare industry ever since, not with hype, but with science. I've been a OneSkin user ever since their launch, and I've started with their eye and face serum and then started the body lotion. And now it's the only face lotion that my husband uses daily. Truly, it's a skincare miracle in our house. It's become a shared ritual and a go-to gift I give every holiday season because once you experience what it does for midlife skin, there's no going back. So today, we'll dig into what really happens to your skin as you age, how OneSkin is helping to support it at the cellular level, and why this isn't just a beauty conversation, it's a longevity conversation. So let's dive in. Thank you for being with us on The Well Drop, Alessandra.
Thank you, Amber, for having me here. So excited for our conversation and so happy to hear that you have been knowing us for such a long time.
Yes, we love it. I think the best place to start is really with the science. Can you explain to our listeners, what makes midlife skin different and how does OneSkin specifically address those changes from collagen loss to thinning and dryness?
Yeah, absolutely. So skin aging is a process that starts early in life, but as we reach mid-age, we start to experience this acceleration on collagen breakdown. The cell turnover of the skin is slower, we lose elasticity, and you start losing hydration. Your skin becomes more dry and lose that dullness. It becomes more dullness, and you have a more opaque skin. And this is all happening because the inner biology of our skin is changing with time. So we have changes happening at the cellular level. And then this process can be accelerated depending on UV exposure, on lifestyle choices. And then at midlife for women, we reach this phase that we have so much hormonal changes that also accelerates this aging process on the skin. And we start noticeably, sorry, I'm Brazilian, I have a big accent, but you will get me. But we start to notice more the changes on our skin. And this becomes more preeminent when we reach midlife.
Yes. I mean, sadly, everyone thinks, it's not going to happen to me. And then it happens.
Yes.
Then you realize, my biggest thing was noticing it first, on my legs was probably the first sign of it's a little bit more creepy. And then I used your body lotion. I was like, oh, wow. So can you explain the OS1? So it's a special peptide that you guys discovered, created. Give us a little background on how, or you set out to create a peptide. Where did this all start from?
So we started OneSkin in 2016 as a group of 4 female PhD scientists. And our first intention was to reproduce the skin aging in the lab to understand how the anti-aging products work on reversing skin aging. And what we soon realized is that some products, they do not work, and some can even accelerate the aging process.
Oh.
And that was shocking. And one of the reasons why this was happening is because it was lacking a molecule that would really target one of the root causes of skin aging. That is the accumulation of damage and the secretion of inflammation on the skin. So because the products were not doing that, we were not seeing results on reversing the skin aging.
Yeah.
So we decided to start looking for another molecule since we were not seeing out there. And after screening over 900 peptides, we identified this one peptide that we called OS1, that's capable to reduce the inflammation that's secreted by the damaged cells that accumulates with aging.
Wow.
And the result of doing that is that your skin starts to really turn the clock a little bit back and function as a younger skin. So the healthy cells are able to boost the collagen production. The epidermal, our skin barrier, becomes stronger. And when we realized and we saw all this data coming out in the lab, we thought we would license this to a big company, but then in 2020, we decided, no, you know what? As scientists, we dream to bringing something to the market. Let's bring our own line of skincare products powered by this peptide. And that's how we brought first the OS1 face. And we wanted to extend this to the whole body. So OS1 body was our second product.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, the fact to even hear, there's so much. I think we've interviewed other people that are in the hair care space who used to do ad sales for all the big brands. And it's really, they're marketing machines. And so they tell this beautiful story and everything looks glamorous, but most of these products don't even work, which you saw from your testing, which is sad because it's expensive, right? It's time consuming, you're committing to it. And to do all of that when it's literally a zero, usually at the end of the day. I think that's what really resonated with me when I discovered OneSkin. I was like, this makes sense. Like there's so much studies and data behind it to show that it's going to do something. Might as well try it and see what happens. Have you done any testing in humans, just it doesn't have to be necessarily some huge test, but to see that the skin age is changing over? Because I think you guys do say in some of your marketing, right? After a certain amount of time, you start to see the change. When is that exactly?
Yeah, so the process that we go through, like first, everything starts in the lab when we identify this peptide. We do a lot of tests where we test on we call ex vivo human skin. So we have like pieces of human skin in the lab and we're able to really evaluate the effect out at the cellular level of the peptide. But once we produce a formula, all our formulas, they undergo clinical studies as well. So we recruit participants by a third party. They use the product for a period, usually up to 12 weeks. And we use instrument analysis and a dermatologist assessment to see the changes that can happen on your skin when you apply the product. And what we consistently see throughout our line of products is an improvement on the skin barrier function, meaning your skin becomes stronger, so your skin is able to retain more of the water and the moisture. So this already gives you like immediate increase on the hydration and on the perception of your skin being more even plump. With time, and after 6 weeks, but more noticeable after 12 weeks, we're able to see improvements on the firmness and elasticity of the skin, and also improvements on the overall skin tone and radiance. So It's a process that's not overnight. Although you can see on the first days that improvement on the hydration part, but it's really a constant use that starts to even get better. And you touch your skin and you feel that's more resilient. It's like stronger.
If you love diving into the latest wellness secrets on the podcast, then you're going to want to join my exclusive weekly newsletter. Get insider wellness tips you won't hear anywhere else. Be the first to know about my upcoming fasting workshops because Let's be real, fasting is the secret weapon for surviving perimenopause. Access my weekly essentials, tools, and biohacks to help you thrive in midlife. I promise to make it worth your while, straight to the point, no fluff, just powerful tips to help you feel your best every single week. Don't miss out. Sign up now at thewelldrop.com. Let's take your wellness to the next level together. Yeah. I mean, to me, 12 weeks isn't even that long. I think that's like
Yeah.
relatively a short period of time to be able to see that difference. And I would say for me, when I started using it, all of a sudden, some people would start to be like, "What are you doing to your face?" And I'd be like, "Oh, maybe it's my new products that I've been using." Because sometimes you don't know, is it working? But I thought it was so interesting. Also, your branding and packaging is very nicely gender neutral. And my husband is not a skincare guy. And, as we're getting older, we're out in the sun. We live in Miami, so you're in the sun a lot. I was like, I think you need to start hydrating your skin. Like, I think it might be time. Like, try this. And it feels very approachable because it's a pretty simple packaging, which I think really resonates with me and then also with him. And he actually, for someone who's never done anything, he could feel the difference on his skin from using the product, which I think says a lot because sometimes as women, we've been doing so much for so long that we don't really take a minute to notice. So from somebody who started from zero to feel the difference shows the effectiveness. And I think that's why we wanted to highlight OneSkin is for the actual effectiveness of the product. Can you tell us about, is the product, would you consider it a clean product in terms of like ingredients? How would somebody think about it?
Yeah. So our products, like on the standards of clean products, they are all considered clean. We go through a rigorous process when we are selecting the ingredients that will go in each of our formulas. We test several times on our models in the lab to make sure that's not cause any sensitization, any irritation to the skin. So we are way more about the efficacy and safety. And at the end, the product is also clean. But our number one rule is that the product is it has efficacy and is safe to be used in different skin type. So we avoid all those. We avoid fragrance. We avoid a lot of other ingredients that can harm your skin. And at the end, the formula becomes very gentle, but at the same time, very efficacious on delivering the benefits of improving the skin health. And as you said, like we hear so much like that the partners get together and start using the product together. And it goes to what you said, the simplicity of the packaging and the real data. Usually for men, they are looking for something. They don't want the prettiest package or different,
Yeah, they
like a
don't
lot
care.
of like colors. It's like, does this work? There is something when they hear, oh, there's science, real science behind, they get enthusiastic to try. And because it's super lightweight and easy to use, they adopt more fast as well.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's like not too thick, not too thin, the consistency. So it doesn't feel like this like heavy thing on your face. So speaking about midlife and perimenopause, when estrogen starts to go down, that definitely starts to affect the elasticity and the moisture retention. So you're saying that this peptide specifically targets the moisture barrier, and then in turn, does it work on the skin in any way from producing collagen or anything like that? Also
Yeah,
for plumpness?
it also increased collagen production. So when we have like the estrogen decline in women, this accelerates the skin aging process because estrogen is used for the skin to produce collagen, to keep the moisture, the hydration. And when this hormone declines, you accelerate this process and you start to accumulate more of damaged cells that secrete inflammation. Those damaged cells are scientifically known as senescent cells.
Yep.
We like to call them zombie cells because they should not be there. They should be dead, but they stay there and they secrete inflammation, and this inflammation accelerate collagen breakdown and accelerate the aging process on the skin. So what our peptide is doing it's not fixing the hormone imbalance. So it's not a hormone replacement, but
Right.
it's helping the biology of the skin to reduce those damaged cells that are accumulating even more in that phase of our lives. So when you reduce the inflammation secreted by the zombie cells, and when you reduce the accumulation of zombie cells in the skin, you allow the healthy cells to produce more collagen and help also strengthening the skin barrier function. So it really counteracts some of the side effects that the lack of estrogen does to the skin.
Yeah, I love treating things at the cellular level. I think that is definitely going to be my mission for this year, is to let people understand that you want to start at the cellular level. That's sort of like the baseline,
Yeah.
and then you can build up from there. For people who may not know what a peptide even is, can you break down for us what a peptide is? Because I think most people have been introduced to peptides through GLPs. They've heard about that. So they're not thinking like, oh, there's other peptides out there, when we know
There
that
are a
there's
lot of
so
peptides.
many.
Yeah, a lot of peptides. And peptides is a class of molecules. They are the building blocks of protein. So they are small in terms of their composition. It's the same as a protein, but they are short. They are small. They have usually in between 10 to 50 amino acids that are really the building blocks. If you add more amino acids, you will get to the size of a protein. And what is interesting about this type of molecule is that they can give signals to your body to do something. They're signaling molecules. When they get in contact with the cells in your body, they're able to tell them to act in a certain way. So what our peptide does when it gets in contact with the skin and see those damaged cells that are secreting inflammation, it tells stop secreting inflammation, because this inflammation is harm for the skin. And also on the healthy cells, it helps build the DNA repair to avoid them to accumulate damage and become senescent cells. And all this communication that you're reducing the zombie cells and reducing the inflammation signal the cells to produce more collagen. So the fibroblasts produce more collagen because you clean the environment that before was contaminated with inflammation with a more healthy environment. Everything starts to work better. And then you're able also to thicken it, to get a thicker epidermal layer, a stronger skin barrier.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think most of us were not really taught about what happens in midlife. And when you are in midlife, your inflammation tends to rise. And that happens on so many different levels. It can happen with like your insulin and metabolic sensitivity. It happens at the skin level. It happens internally in your organs, your blood pressure. Everyone's different. So how it might affect them is all different. And then also it can happen for your hair, right? Because if you have inflammation in your scalp, hormonal loss, hair loss starts. So you have something new that was just recently launched, which is really exciting, is in addition, you have an eye serum, a moisturizer, a body moisturizer, and now you have a new product, and that is the OS1 for hair.
Yeah. So we do a lot of studies on the skin in our lab, and the scalp is literally like a continuation of the skin, right?
Yep.
And it's full of the hair follicles where produce the hair. 2 years ago, we started to see even some research in the literature showing that when you have hair loss, you also have accumulation of those zombie cells on the hair follicle. So we started to think, okay, what if we use our OS1 peptide to treat like hair thinning and hair loss? And we started in the lab, like putting some hair follicles in contact with our peptide, and we saw that the hair was growing again. And then we started evolving the formula, and we ran a clinical study that was a very substantial data came out of this study, that after 6 months of continued use, we could see measuring with an instrument an increase on 40% on the thickness and the density of the hair.
Wow.
Which is very impressive.
Very.
And what we have seen with hair, that's similar happened to the skin as well. A lot of times we only start to take action when we already see the things going down, slowing down. And with hair, usually when a woman starts perceiving that she is having hair thinning and hair loss, she already had lost 50% of her
Yep.
hair. So when you start taking some action, you're already like halfway on the process, right? So what we're trying to do with the hair product as well is to educate women that the earlier you start treating your hair as you do with your skin, sometimes we're even before we have the wrinkles, we already start using and preventing the skin aging. If you do that for your hair, also you can deaccelerate the hair thinning process and you can increase the volume and the density of your hair with
I
time.
love that. Yes, I'm such a big fan of coming at things from a preventative standpoint. I wish I talk about it all the time, my hair journey. I wish I knew that. I didn't realize because you never know if you're going to be part of that 50% because over half of women kind of lose their hair by the time they hit menopause until it happens to you. So I wish I even knew that. I would have been dropping away until then. I think a lot of people who may be familiar with peptides, when they think of peptides for the hair or even for the skin, they think of GHKCU. I think that's one that I hear the most. How would you compare OS1 to a GHKCU? How should people think about that?
So the GHKCU peptide has a different mechanism than ours. So as I said, they're signaling molecules,
Yep.
right? So what the GHK copper peptide does, especially on the hair, on the scalp, it stimulates more of blood flow and helps also on a little bit of the health and on the hair follicle to have more cells there to produce hair and keeping the hair on the anagen phase. But it's not affecting the senescent cells.
Correct. Yeah.
The same on the skin. On the skin, it helps boosting collagen, but through a different mechanism where you are not reducing the cellular senescence and the inflammation secreted by the senescent cells. So they have a different mechanism, and at the end, they both can have benefits. But what's the breakthrough of our peptides that's going through a mechanism that no other peptide until now it's targeting, and is one that accumulates and accelerates with the aging process.
And correct me if I'm wrong, is yours one of the first peptides discovered in a very long time, like a new peptide or?
It is the first peptide that targets cellular senescence on the skin. But there were already other peptides for other application, but specifically for senescence in the skin, this is the first one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's huge. Like nobody thinks about, we think about it in our body, for those who want to be more sciencey, the senescence cells, but you don't think about it in terms of your skin barrier, but it totally makes sense. Like if they're in there, they're going to be everywhere in your body. You can't just like have it in just one area, but not another. And I think that's probably why the OS1 is so powerful. And like the science behind it is so beyond inspiring and impactful. And like, it's so nice. I think when you start to use the product that you know that you're putting something on that's actually going to make a difference. And I think like it's a nourishing ritual, at least for me every night. Like, you know that you're like taking care of yourself because it's not just about a vanity thing. Like it's actually you're healing your skin at a cellular level.
Yes. And then that's why also the skin aging process does not stop on our neck. And a lot of times we forget of the whole body. So our idea of like our second product being the body lotion was to extend this treatment and this science to our whole body. And the results that we see with the body lotion, they're very remarkable, especially when the skin is already very crepey and very thin. We're still able to improve the elasticity and the thickness of that skin.
Wow.
A lot of times the body, we neglect more. So we just we see the fine lines starting when we're 30, but we don't see that much changes in the skin in the body. And then later on, it gets after menopause, starts to get so thin in the whole body, and then your arms and legs really start to show that crepiness.
Yeah.
So preventing is always the best way. But even if you're already there, if you're already seeing your skin in your body lacking elasticity and having a lot of crepiness, the body lotion is able to improve that, to give more elasticity and improve the thickness of the skin and reduce crepiness.
So a way to think about it is it's sort of never too late. Like
No.
once you start, I mean, I actually gifted this last holidays to my mother-in-law and to my mom because I was like, this is perfect because everyone finds whatever products that they connect with and feel comfortable with. But then I think we usually stick with them forever and we don't change it out, just probably out of habit. And so I gave that to them. I was like, here you go, give this a try. And they fell in love. I really do. I gift it to everyone. Your travel case, I think, is amazing. I do a ton of travel and all those sizes. It's a really, really nice gift. I think that it's so well done. I will say, so for OneSkin, for me, I was a huge Biologique person forever. That was what I used. That's just what I felt like addicted to. And it wasn't until I tried your face wash that I sort of completely switched and eventually got rid of all of my products because I know that there's some phthalates and so forth that are in the products. It's not as clean of a product. Can you tell us about the face wash? Because it is really clear. It's not a cream, but it does clean the skin in a different kind of way. Is a peptide in that as well?
So that our cleanser, we call OS1 Prep, is the only product that does not contain the peptide because it's a washout. So it's more like preparing your skin to later on receive the hydration, the peptide through the other products. But we did extensive research in order to get to that final formula because we wanted to be a gentle exfoliator, like a gentle foam that will help you remove all the impurities of your skin, but without drying your skin too much.
Stripping it.
Gentle. Yeah. And then we ended with this formula that also for me is my favorite cleanser as well, that's able to really clean, remove makeup on a gentle and effective way. And then it prepares your skin for better absorption of any product that you apply after.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know that this feels like some sort of infomercial for OneSkin, but it's just me sharing what I truly love. And I share it with those that I love and with my listeners. Where can we find you? We will also put a link in the show notes.
So our website, oneskin.co.co, not .com. OneSkin.co is where you can find the vast amount of information we share. You can find all the products, but we have a very nice blog that explains all our science, what our products does, what is skin aging, what you can do not only for your skin, but to your overall longevity. There's also, for those that wants to go deeper on the science, you can find the scientific publications. You can find one thing that's very extensive for reading, but that I love that we have a tab with our claims and why we're claiming that. So when we say that improves the skin barrier function, it's because it's explained there. It's because we run a clinical study, we measure the skin barrier function and was improved by this and that. And we have the reference when this data is published. So our website really, there's a lot of information there, but we are also on all the social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn.
Yeah. I love the transparency because I love to nerd out and read all those things. So I definitely read them all. The way we close out all of our interviews, we always like to ask our guests if you have one drop of wellness wisdom you like to share with our listeners.
I would say invest on yourself, on your future self today. So don't wait for later on. Start to have like better choices, better habits for improving your health. No matter what age you are, start today because with time later on, you will always be grateful that you start doing that later than never.
Oh, couldn't agree more. I always say start now because the sooner you start, the easier it is. Like until I feel like as humans, we always like to wait until it's like some emergency, and then it's so much harder to claw back. And it's so great that your products really come at it from a preventative standpoint. It's never too early to start, never too late to start. Just get involved and you will start to see those changes. I mean, just within 3 months, I mean, that's huge. So thank you so much for joining us on the Well Drop. We really appreciate you sharing all of your wisdom with us. And check out OneSkin. We will leave you a link in the show notes. And we can't wait. We'll follow up on the Be Doing the Hair Serum. So we'll do a
Yes, I can't wait
6-month
to hear
follow
it.
up. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Amber. Thank you, everyone that's listening to us.
Thank you.